Hello, mini makers. Back today, we're going to be making a Lotad and maybe some other Pokemon if I have time. We'll see. Okay. So I've already made a Lotad in the past. Let me turn on the keys. We can turn them on here. Perfect. Shift A. Okay. So I've already made a Lotad in the past. You can make the body with just either adding a sphere with Shift A, or you can add a Meta Ball instead, a Meta Ball cylinder, and then we can rotate it, kind of make it a little bit chunkier in the middle, and then we can size it in every axis except for the y-axis by selecting Shift S, then S, Shift Y, and I'll make it move in every axis except for the y-axis. And we can, perfect. So that looks like the good base for the body. So the legs can just be UV spheres, sized in the z-axis, like that. Perfect. Kind of make him a little bit chunkier. So I've already made a Lotad before. So this time I'm going to try to make a Lotad based off this GIF in one of the Pokemon anime episodes of him, or it, the Lotad, pouring water onto a garden. So I may make the garden part. I don't know. It depends. I'm probably just going to make the water. We'll see where we get to. Okay. So here's one. So then we can subdivide the surfaces on this. And then we can mirror it across the body using the mirror modifier. We can go to the body and then confirm scale, or convert to a mesh first. And then we can confirm rotation and scale. Okay, perfect. Then we can mirror this across the X, and then we can probably just duplicate it 2 times. Duplicate. Or we could use the overlay modifier, which I think I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm going to use the overlay modifier instead. So you can just use the overlay modifier here in the X, in the Y, yep. And then have a count of 3, like that. Perfect. And then that's the Lotad body. So now we can just go into sculpt mode here and literally clean up the shape of the body. So I'm going to shade flat. And then I'm going to subdivide surfaces. Couple. And I'll probably just make it a little bit thinner like that. Move them down. Okay. And that's starting to look like Lotad body. I'll make the feet a bit bigger. Make them closer together by just moving the Y factor a little bit. And then I'll probably go into sculpt mode and pull in this back half here. You probably move it this way. So go into sculpt mode. Make sure X symmetry is enabled. And I think I'll do Y symmetry as well. Z symmetry as well. And then I guess I'll just move it over. You can use F to make your what you're moving bigger, your zone of influence, I guess. So this is just to get the body a little bit chunkier. Okay. There we go. And then we're probably gonna... I'm gonna try to Lee mesh it. So I will go here to this tab down here, Object Properties. And then go to the Lee Mesh tab, and then go to Voxel Lee Mesh, and move the Lee Mesh size to maybe 0.03 or 0.04. And right now this is 6,050 vertices, so we'll see where we get to after Lee meshing. We're at 7,600, which it's probably not enough, so we'll probably move it down to 3. At least, I think we can work with this. So now we'll start smoothing the body out a little bit. Yeah, okay, now this works. So we start smoothing at the body with the smooth tool in sculpt mode. And then we're going to go with the inflate tool to try to pull up, make these sections here a little bit, make this section here a little bit more inflated, a little bit rounder. We can go here. Okay, that's good. And just inflate the whole thing to make it a little bit more whatever round shape this Lotad is. I don't know. Lotad shaped, I guess. Good way to define it. And then we'll do the same with the back. So right now the back is kind of flat. We're just going to use the inflate tool a little bit, smooth tool, to make that a little bit more rounded. Okay. So then, because this Lotad's kind of tilting its head a little bit, I'm going to use the snake hook tool to move this front part of the Lotad down a little bit. So it's kind of like that. That's good. So we can move him down. Then we just do a little bit more smoothing. Okay. I guess it's like not a pill shape, but some other shape. I don't know how to describe it. We're not going to worry about the top too much because we're just going to replace that with a leaf, which I'll be making right now. So we can make the leaf by just Shift A, adding a cylinder. Let's see. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, this is fine. I think it's fine. I think we'll probably just move this back in sculpt mode. Kind of move this front up a little bit. And then move this down a little bit so it kind of looks like it's actually bending down. Pull it in a little bit. And then we're going to inflate a little bit more. And then, excuse me, inflate a little bit more. And then we are going to go back to making the leaf. Okay, perfect. So, this is a good body. We're just going to stick with that for now. And then we're going to go on and making the leaf. So we added the cylinder with Shift A. Then we're going to make it smaller in the Z dimension. Gonna size it big. That looks like it's It's pretty good for the leaf size of the Lotad. We're gonna go back and make this just inflate it a little bit. Now that we've added the leaf on top, we can literally kind of see how the sides look. So we're just gonna make this side here a little bit more inflated. Okay, there you go. That's better. Okay, perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this leaf. That looks like it's probably the light size. The light size I'm going to go with. So we're going to make the leaf and then we're going to tilt it a little bit. First to make the leaf, we have the cylinder. We're going to take the top face. We're going to inset it slightly. Probably to here. Then we're going to extrude downwards. To about... Gonna go into X-ray mode to see... Yeah, that seems about right. Slightly, so we just hit E and then Z. So we inset with I. Slightly. Then we hit E and then Z to move it down. There-ish, that's good. We're gonna subdivide it. And then we're going to add some edge loops with Control R. Inset the bottom face slightly. And then we're going to do the same, inset the top face here slightly as well. I think that's good. That looks a little bit more natural. We're probably actually gonna add another edge loop at the top. There we go. And one on the inside to make it look like a dish. Okay, perfect. So now we have that. We're going to make the triangles here, which would be one here, and then I guess one here, one here, one here. We're gonna make these with adding booleans, and then we're gonna cut this part out. Cut this part out with a boolean as well. So to do that, we're just gonna add some spheres. Gonna add a sphere with Shift A. Add the sphere. Gonna size it a little bit. We're gonna move it with the GY. Then we are going to go into edit mode. Go into X-ray mode with Alt Z and size it in the X dimension. Grab the top front two vertices and move it in the X dimension. And then we're going to, it seems like from pictures of Lotad, it looks like the leaf, the blue leaf part enters the body a little bit. So we have the body, so we're gonna cut out a portion including the body. We're gonna add an edge loop with Control R to make it a little bit more of a triangle-like shape. Perfect. And then we can just for some reason this face got cut, so we're just gonna, so we can do, this face was missing for some reason. I don't know why, can't really explain that. So we can fill it, so we can select all the vertices and fill it with F, and then we can select this top vertex here and this bottom vertex here and hit J to join, and then we can subdivide through the middle. We may not even have to do that. We can just move this slightly in the Y dimension. Okay, perfect. And then we're going to size this in the Z dimension. because what's important is it's being used to cut. So then we can move it down, size and these dimensions some more. So we're going to take a look at our leaf portion. So the ends over here probably have to be a little bit bigger. That looks good. And then we can just use this as a cutting tool. So we just select the square and then select the dish. So divide surfaces, apply any modifiers, and then using the bool tool add-on. So I have it already. So, but if you want to get it, you can just go to preferences and look up bool tool. And then you'll get there. So we can just use difference, and that cuts out a little piece. So I don't know if this piece is big enough. It probably is big enough, but I want to make this face here slightly shallower. So I'm just gonna go back into vertex mode, select all this stuff, move it down a little bit. There we go. And then we're just gonna cut this with, probably gonna move it in a little bit. Make it a little bit wider. That. And then we're just gonna select both. Select the cube first, then select the dish, and then auto Boolean difference. And there we go. We have our little hat. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into, we're going to tilt this. Not yet. First we'll add these little leaf parts. We can do that by doing the same thing basically. And add a cube. We can move them over, scale them slightly. And then instead of differencing, we're going to union. Okay. So yeah, I already made a Lotad. So the reason I'm making this one is because I kind of wanted to do, I saw this GIF of this Lotad putting water into this little garden. And I wanted to make a Lotad with the water on the dish. So we can now, I guess we can subdivide everything. I think that will end up looking very neat. And I haven't seen a Lotad with a little dish yet, so. That's why I'm making it. Okay. So we're going to probably just scale it a little bit. In everything but the Y dimension. So S, Shift, Z, S, then Shift, Z. We're going to move back over. That's probably closer to how big it actually is. So we're probably going to just probably move it over a little bit. Move this over. Then we're gonna move it down the Z dimension there. And then this looks like this, and I'm okay with that. So we're just gonna duplicate it and then move it down a little bit in the Y dimension. Probably gonna make it slightly smaller. Like this one's slightly smaller, but we're gonna make it slightly smaller in the X dimension, but slightly bigger in the Y dimension. So SY. And then we are going to just move the vertices around until it makes sense. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're just gonna union it together. Okay, so that looks good to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to join these together so I can click on both of them and hit J for join. Control J for join. And then mirror this across the leaf. Okay, they're not big enough in the wide dimensions, it seems. So we're going to take those. We're just going to size it in the wide dimension, see what happens. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. Then we're just going to take these vertices and move them. And that looks more like the Lotad leaf to me. Yep, okay. So this looks pretty geometric, so I'm not going to subdivide or anything. I'm probably just going to leave it like that. So what I may actually do is do the difference of it instead of the instead of unioning. So I'm adding more loop cuts to try to make this as kind of curvy as possible. Okay, we're moving some vertices here. And then I'm going to do the difference as well on this end here. Perfect. There we go. And then we're just going to take the difference and see how that looks. We may subdivide the surfaces now. And increase their, make them look a little bit more like defined triangles by increasing the mean crease of all. There we go. Okay. To me, that looks good enough. I'll move this over so it doesn't cut into the leaf at all. Into the lip of the leaf. Okay, and this is going to be 3D printed, so I would say that this is probably fine. So we're just going to go in and then we're going to take the difference, so same thing. And convert it to mesh beforehand if you want. Then we just use Boolean union, difference. There we go. I may just smooth this out a little bit, so confirm rotation scale. I'm just going to smooth this out slightly. Go to smooth tool. There we go. It won't make a difference on the printing. I'm just doing this because it'll bother me now. Okay, so it looks fine as far as the Lotad dish is concerned. I'm probably going to make it, yeah, size it in the Y dimension slightly. Like that. And even more slightly. Like there. And then I will use the crease tool. I'll probably just remesh this first. So I'll remesh to probably 0.04. That's not enough. So probably 0.02. No, that's way too much. 0.02. Okay, that's better. I'm going to apply scale. And then I'm going to use the Clease tool with stabilized slopes enabled. Oh wait, no, actually I may change this to line. And then draw the line, and that's how I'll Clease it. So if you just change the blush to line, there you go. You can make the Clease with a very specifically. Okay, so the line. So I increased the strength and decreased the size. Okay, so that looks like the line that goes across. I'll probably just smooth it out a little bit. And then I'll probably use the pinch tool a little bit. And then that'll probably be good enough. When making stuff like Pokemon, I always have to decide, do I make it look exactly how the Pokemon looks? Or do I make it how I want it to look in real life? And there's always a choice. Like for example, these eyes, which we could go on to next. But first I'm going to rotate this dish. So it kind of looks like it's tilting the dish out. Like there. Perfect. And then I'm going to use the trim tool here to trim this portion off. So I'm going to go into sculpt mode. And I'm going to use the box trim. I guess the line project actually. I use the line project instead here to trim this portion off. And probably a larger portion. There we go. Still more? Okay. I'm gonna hide this. Okay. Confirm scale, then use the line project again. Okay, perfect. Okay, there we go. Then I'm just gonna smooth this out a little bit. And then probably just push it down a little bit with the draw tool in the negative dimension. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. And I'm probably going to smooth this bottom portion of the leaf a little bit. Because I don't know. So sometimes if you make your radius too big, you'll start messing with the backside of the model. There's a good way to change that, which you can just go to your blush tools. And then do front faces only. But I'm just not going to do that for now. Okay. So now we have the dish here. This is probably too tall, so what I'm going to do in sculpt mode to go to the line project. And then just lop off this top portion here. Probably that much. There we go. That looks good. So now what I'll do is I'll probably make it slightly thinner in the X dimension. Perfect. And then I'll begin making the Lotad face. So the Lotad face is pretty easy. It's just a UV sphere. Size it in the Z dimension. There we go, perfect. Then we can move it in the Y dimension. And honestly, we just have to subdivide surfaces and that's enough. Like, that's enough for the Lotad's bill. What we could do is we could get rid of some of these faces down here with edit mode, select faces and delete them, and then just fill with F, and then there you go. That's a little bit more of that duck bill that we got going on. We'll probably move it slightly down and then rotate it a little bit because we want to show that this Lotad is leaning over. Okay, this is great. I love this little guy. Lotad is one of those classic Pokemon that's as simple as you can make it. But it's still awesome. So for these eyes, you can do a couple things. You can draw them on, well, you can add a, they're very simple. So you could either add a cylinder, you can either add a cylinder, rotate it, size it a little bit, and then inset one of the front faces. Kind of give it a googly-eyed look. There. Inset one of the front faces, and then we can just extrude inwards, or probably extrude outwards. And then we can probably make the eye here, this little portion. Move this out a little bit. Kind of make it look that it's kind of a flattish face. Rotate it just a little bit. Move it back a little bit. So if you double tap Z, you can move it to its local Z axis. Okay. So divide surfaces. Add some boundary loops. Inset this eye in the middle here. Then mirror this across the body. And make the Lotad eyes. That's one way you can do it. The other way you could do it is doing the same thing but with a sphere. I am just going to draw them on. Because with super simple eyes, I just enjoy drawing them on. Okay. I'm going to go in, I'm going to add some dynamic topology. Some vertices by going to dynamic topology over here in the active tool workshop setting, changing the constant detail, maybe going to like 5 and probably like 10, and setting my blob tool to 0 and probably like 25 then, and maybe like 35. The reason I'm changing is I'm looking at the amount of triangles I'm adding here. then I'll just make my length big on my mask tool. Draw in the eyes here. They're just little circles. That's great. I make them a little bit bigger. Maybe to like there. Okay, perfect. Then I will invert the mask with Control I. Then use the inflate mesh filter to push them in. I will then use the pinch tool to make it more defined. And then I'll just use the probably add a little bit more vertices with dynamic topology. 45. Smooth out the center a little bit. And then add a little small, tiny pupil. There we go. This is good. And then we'll push that out. So we'll invert the mask. And then we'll just do the inverse. Slightly. And then I usually smooth them. Slightly. There we go. So this is our Lotad. Easy. Perfect. We're just gonna union the I may try to join and lead mesh, but I'll probably just union the legs to the body. Lead mesh the whole thing. We'll probably lead mesh it. Probably not. So we don't want to really affect the vast majority of this. We only really want to add vertices and where the legs connect to the body so we can smooth the stuff out there. So because that's the case, we'll just use dynamic topology. Okay, we're symmetrically enabled, just using dynamic topology to add some vertices. I'm probably adding way more than you need to, but you can always just decimate this if you want to. Take off dynamic topology, and we're just going to smooth out the connections. This. Connections are smoothed. And then we're probably going to use the clay slips tool to really make these connections between the legs and the body seamless. So we're just going to add some volume between the connection points. And then we're going to smooth that volume we just added. So we're going to try to make it look seamless. Which... yeah, I mean, it kind of looks like the body goes directly into the legs. Which is... I'll just move this body in slightly. And just smooth some stuff out. And there we go. Here's our Lotad body. Ready to drop some water onto a garden. I think for this part, underneath here, just gonna fix this slightly. So now I'm going to turn on normal faces only. I guess front faces only. Yeah, see? So front faces only, now the back side's not affected. Yeah, there we go. I'm just gonna do this here. And then I'm just gonna smooth it. Because I don't really like how that looks in the bottom. Okay. So this is a little warped, but I'm going to be 3D printing this, so it'll be kind of imperceptible. And then this part won't be seen because it is currently being obscured by the Lotad body. So just do Alt-H to unhide everything. Perfect. So now we can start working on the little water up top. So what I'll do is I'll add a UV sphere. And then move it over. Shift it over. Okay. And then I'm going to just use edit mode. And then just kind of move it around a little bit in edit mode with a proportional editing. So we can just grab this portion, use the proportional editing, just kind of move it around. I'm probably gonna delete half of these vertices and mirror it. Okay, perfect. So then we're just going to mirror it across the body here. Enable clipping. And then we're just going to kind of move it in place with proportional editing. So probably goes back a little bit. Perfect. Okay. So we can just use a box line project to get rid of this and get rid of this bottom part in sculpt mode. So it looks like here there's more volume at the top than there is at the bottom. So we're going to want to really make sure that that's noticeable here. We're going to make this portion up here overflowing. And then we're going to make the portion at the back kind of sinking down. Going to kind of move this all the way over to the edges because that's what it looks like it's in the concept art. Perfect. I'm going to move this part back down a little bit. Just in the Z dimension. Move it down in Z dimension. Perfect. And then we want it to kind of have this look, which it kind of has. Hide the sleeve. So I'm gonna go back here. Kind of push it down. Here we go. And then we're going to move this top part up. And then the rest we're going to do in sculpt mode. So we're going to divide surfaces. Then we're gonna unhide the leaf. Then we're gonna go into scope mode. So we're gonna use the line project to kind of, I'm gonna remesh this because this is gonna be manipulated a lot. .04. Okay, perfect. So now we're gonna just use the line slim tool to take off all parts that are underneath the leaf. Sculpt mode. Use the line project tool the other way. So just cut off the top part. You want to go from the other direction. There we go. So now we're gonna just smooth it a little bit. Just gonna smooth it a little bit. Make sure symmetry is enabled for now. Okay. So now we're just gonna use the inflate tool and kind of give it a little bit more of a watery shape, like that. And then the snake hook tool a little bit, move it around. I was trying to find pictures of how water naturally looks when it's kind of in a dish-like shape, but it's kind of hard to find. So it almost looks like it builds, and then like the cohesion or whatever of the water keeps it together at the top. So, and then it kind of like builds unnaturally at the top. Like it's like you think it should be kind of being pushed out and pushed over, but it's not. And then until it gets to a breaking point where it does. So it's going to look like that, where it's kind of like, it's kind of pulling all the water from beneath it. That looks good. And then I will add the water coming down as a different little element. I'll probably just add that as a cylinder. So we just add the cylinder. And then we can kind of just move it around. Probably to there. That's good. I'm gonna move this all, so I'm using the y-axis is kind of like a boundary line here, so I can know like what's flat. Perfect. So then we'll just kind of move this down. Yeah, that's a good size for the water that would be coming out. Move this over. So we're gonna have to deform the water around the leaf, because the leaf wouldn't really move a lot. It'd be the water moving. So we can just subdivide surfaces here. Inset a couple faces. And then begin sculpting in sculpt mode. I'm just gonna apply rotation and scale. And then I'm just gonna do dynamic topology for this portion. Okay, perfect here. Okay, 45 is way too much. So I'm just gonna add some vertices. Probably 35. Like here we go, 35. 35 at the bottom too, probably. Take off dynamic topology, and then use the snake hook tool to kind of move this around. So it'd be kind of smooth for the majority of it. So something like that. And we want it to kind of bend over the lip here of the leaf. Okay, I think that looks fine. Okay, and we'll probably use the snake hook tool or the inflate tool here to kind of make this part a little bit bigger. And just kind of move it around. And then we'll union these two portions together. And really try to make that union look as natural as possible. Okay, that's good. And then for the bottom portion, we're just gonna add a sphere here. Kind of size it in, make it smaller. And then we're just gonna start pulling, using the snake hook tool to like pull out of it to kind of make this look. So we're just gonna start pulling stuff out of the sphere in all dimensions at different levels to make it look like it's splashing in the water. Okay. So now we can go into sculpt mode. Go into sculpt mode. And then union this to this and then start pulling out of this sphere. Just gonna give it a bunch of subdivisions. Just to give it a lot to work with. Probably 4. Okay, so I'm gonna union these two together. And then I'm gonna start pulling stuff out of here. Probably gonna make it bigger in every dimension except for the Y dimension. Except for the Z dimension. So I'm gonna get S, Shift, Z. That. And I'm just gonna start pulling. Gonna apply scale first. There we go. So now we're gonna start pulling. So like it's getting splashed out. Kind of like this. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna duplicate this. Gonna shift it around a little bit. Make it a little bit bigger. And everything except for the Z dimension. And then I'm gonna make this bigger closer to it. Because it splashes out bigger there. Taller, I mean. And then I'm going to move these so that they're a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to use the inflate tool and the smooth tool to kind of make it look as watery as possible. I've never really done this portion before. That's why I was interested in doing it. So we're just gonna kind of maybe use the glab tool to just move stuff around instead of the snake hook tool. That. You don't want it to be hitting the Lotad itself. Okay. Just gonna move everything in slightly. And then we're going to, on these bottom ones, we're going to inflate them so they kind of look a little bit bulby. And we're probably going to leave the ones in the middle alone, but we'll give them the scrape tool to kind of make them look a little bit more interesting. You'll see what I'm talking about when I get there. Okay. What I should have done before starting was splashed a bunch of water on the floor or in my sink to see what actually happens. If you ever want to try to recreate a natural phenomena like water being splashed, or how blocks look on the floor when you break them, or how dirt looks when something smashes it. Just go out there and smash dirt. Go out there and splash water around. It's something that I forgot to do, and that's why I'm in a little bit confused for shape. Okay, so we're just using the scrape tool to kind of make this look a little bit more stylized, since I'm probably going to end up making it look more stylized than real. Okay. I'm probably going to pull out some really tiny ones from this bottom part, like we see in the art over here. Just make sure to smooth it out a lot. What we're doing here. I think I'm going to hide the Lotad for now. Okay, perfect. We're just going to look at this water and this leaf, since those are the important players. Okay, smoothing, smoothing, smoothing. And then we're going to use the inflate tool. Probably not actually, because if we kind of zoom in here, this kind of looks like they're all very straight. So I'll probably just use the multi-plane scrape tool to try to give it, probably just a regular scrape tool to try to give it some straightness, or some very clear dimension. There we go. Probably just use the pinch tool too. So I think this won't come out exactly how I want it to, but that's okay because I've never done this before. Okay. Just scrape and smooth, scrape and smooth. That looks not bad. This also doesn't look bad, so what I'm probably going to do is just convert scale here. And then probably pull out some here with the snake hook tool. Like that. I'm probably going to have to give this some more vertices. Then I have topology here. Probably 45. Okay, the reason my cursor went away is because I accidentally hit hide cursor. Smooth this a little bit and try to make it look closer to the water shape. Okay. So we kind of are looking closer to the water shape, I think. I'm gonna push this over. I'm gonna probably make this look all smaller. Kind of like that. Gonna make this smaller too. Yeah, there you go. That was what was missing. This is all kind of smaller. Okay, bring back the Lotad. Okay, yeah, perfect. So now we can move this over a little bit. Okay. That's good. Then we can union these two together, what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to smooth the connection point between them. Add a little bit more vertices. A lot more vertices. There we go. A lot more vertices here. Smooth the connection between those two, and then probably pull out a couple more. Probably won't come out exactly how I want it to. That's fine. Okay. So now we compare this to... probably looks like it's coming out a little bit too much in some places. Let's move these all inwards. Okay. That's fine. This out. And then we may just add some of the big ones that are flat, like here. Large flat one. Okay. That's good. Give it a little bit, make everything a little bit more round. Okay. So these two are unioned, so we're just going to make this connection look very natural and seamless. Okay, smooth the connection here. And then we're just going to use the clay slips tool to really make this connection feel seamless. Like that. So that it comes like, feels like it's coming in very cleanly. And more vertices everywhere. Just keep going. I'm smoothing. Smoothing, adding volume, smoothing, adding volume. Okay, yep. That's good. It looks like now Lily's starting to look like Lotad's flop in water. We see in this picture. Looks like it's not dropping water from high enough. That's fine. We'll just make this look smaller. And then we'll just union this together. It's probably a little bit too big. Gonna make it a little bit tighter. That. Okay. And I think we're just going to union these together, smooth them out, and that will be the end of Lotad. Well, the end of the water portion. And then we can just go in and smooth this portion here. Smoothing this portion here. It looks like it's one big water piece. Gonna go in, give it some vertices with dynamic topology. Take off symmetry. We're just gonna smooth it out. And then we're going to do a little bit of putting the colors on the Lotad. And then I think that'll be the end of Lotad. Okay. So we have Lotad drop in the water there. So we're going to just go into sculpt mode and do some painting. But for this leaf part, yeah, we're just gonna go into sculpt mode and do some painting. Add new material. This one's just gonna be yellow. Yeah. Okay, that's good. We're probably just gonna give them all the material, all the same material. And then just do texture painting in sculpt mode. Just very, very simple stuff, nothing complicated. Just paint here. Leave this as white. Make this yellow. Length to 100%. And then we're just going to do some painting. I think I like how this one turned out. I'd like to give it a little bit more of a dynamic. When you're making stuff like Lotad, or like C dot, or like really simple characters, after you make them once, it's really hard to put them in another pose if you want to make them again. So what you could do is you could just kind of make them interesting in other ways, like this, giving him a little water that he's dumping. Let me just look to see if this is a good color. Probably a little bit too dark, so we can make it a little bit lighter. Yeah, that's good. And this is a good, really simple, like small anime figure if you want it. You know, I may print this out, leave this part, make this part out of transparent resin, and then dye it with blue dyes, so it kind of looks a lot more like water. That's a good flick if you want to really make something look like water or fire. Just print it in transparent resin. Oh, that's a good color. Print it in transparent resin and then use dyes. It comes off pretty good. Okay. And now we'll do these little triangle parts. I'm probably going to make these triangle parts cleaner here. I don't know why they... I don't know why it would happen there. There we go. Then I'm gonna just use the crease tool in the positive dimension a little bit to try to make that look more of a defined crease. And then the pinch tool a little bit. Okay. And then I'll take off line and probably put it to space. I don't know what happened there. This is a positive dimension. Move a negative dimension. Oopsie. Clean it a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's gonna be 3D printed. And like a mistake this small, it's gonna be really hard for it to show up on the print unless the print is massive. Okay. Just do a little bit more painting. Probably just do the same one, just make it darker. There we go. That's good. Okay. And then the last thing we'll do is paint the water a very light blue. And then we'll move on to something else, maybe. Depends how long I've been on. Okay. That's fine for now. Okay. Go back and paint this. Too dark. There we go. Then we'll paint this water a light blue. There we go. Here's Lotad pouring water out of its little dish. And that's, to me, perfect. I think that I've been on for what, an hour and 40 minutes? Yeah, I think I'll probably call it for today. I'll be on maybe tomorrow making some other characters. Oh, let me paint the eyes. The eyes are easy, they're just little. Okay, here we go. And then little pupils are like dots. Perfect. And there we go. A Lotad pouring water out. Okay. Well, this little dude's done. And thank everybody for watching. Have a nice day.